It was raining, the kind of rain that makes everything feel heavier. The boy sat on the front steps, elbows on his knees, staring at 2 crumpled dollar bills in his hand like they had personally betrayed him. $2, he muttered. That's all I've got. Behind him, the old wooden door creaked open. Grandma stepped out slowly, holding her favorite mug. The one with the faded blue flowers no one else was allowed to touch. She didn't say anything at first. Just sat down beside him. You look like the world ended, she said gently. The boy scoffed. Might as well have. I've got dreams bigger than this. He held up the money, shaking it slightly. And I don't even know where to start. Grandma smiled, but not the kind of smile that dismisses you. The kind that understands. Can I see that? She asked, reaching for the bills. He handed them over reluctantly. She studied them like they were worth $1 million. You know, she said softly. This reminds me of the day I had exactly $1 left. The boy rolled his eyes slightly. Yeah. But things were different back then. Oh, they were, she nodded. It was harder. That caught his attention. Harder? He asked. She leaned back, eyes drifting toward the street like it was showing her an old memory. I had $1, no job, and a choice to make. What choice? He asked, now curious despite himself. Grandma looked at him, her eyes suddenly sharper. I could spend it, or I could plant it. He frowned. Plant it? It's money, not a seed. She chuckled. That's what I thought too. There was a pause. Rain tapped against the pavement. So what did you do? He asked. Grandma didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached into her sweater pocket and pulled out something small and metallic. An old coin. Worn. Scratched. Different. She placed it gently in his palm. This is that dollar. The boy stared at it, confused. That's not a dollar. No, she said. It's what it became. He looked up at her, brows furrowed. How does $1 become this? Grandma leaned closer, her voice lowering just enough to feel like a secret. Because I didn't spend it. She paused. I used it to change everything. The boy swallowed. Change what? Grandma smiled again. But this time it wasn't warm. It was mysterious. Tomorrow, she said, standing up slowly. I'll show you. She started walking back inside. Wait, what do you mean tomorrow? He called after her. She stopped at the door, turning just slightly. Bring your $2, she said. And don't be late. The door closed. The boy looked down at the coin in his hand, then at his $2. For the first time, they didn't feel small anymore. But what Grandma was about to show him the next day would make him question everything he thought he knew about money. The next morning felt different. Not brighter. Not happier. Just heavier with curiosity. The boy barely slept. That old coin sat on his nightstand like it was watching him all night. By 8 a.m. he was already outside. $2 in his pocket. Questions in his head. And zero idea what Grandma meant. The door opened right on time. Grandma stepped out wearing her old gray sweater and sneakers, the ones she only wore when she had somewhere important to go. You're early, she said. I didn't want to miss it, he replied quickly. She nodded, almost impressed. Good, she said. Because most people miss this part. That line stuck with him. What part? He asked. But Grandma had already started walking. Come on. They didn't go far. Just down the street, past houses, past the corner store until they stopped in front of something unexpected. A small, slightly run-down grocery shop. The boy frowned. We came here. Grandma turned to him. Take out your $2. He hesitated but pulled them out. Now, she said. Go inside and spend it. His eyebrows shot up. Spend it? I thought you said not to spend it. I said I didn't spend mine, she replied calmly. I didn't say you shouldn't. That confused him even more. What am I supposed to buy with $2? He asked. Anything, she said. But you can't keep it. He stared at her. So, I just waste it. Grandma's expression didn't change. Is it a waste? She asked. He sighed, frustrated. I don't get this. I know, she said. That's why it works. Reluctantly, he walked into the store. He looked around. Chips? Too expensive. Candy? Pointless. A drink? Gone in minutes. Nothing felt worth it. That's when he saw it. A small loaf of bread. $1.50. Simple. Plain. He grabbed it. At the counter, he paid and walked back outside, holding the bread like it was a bad decision. Now what? He asked. Grandma pointed across the street. Go give it to him. The boy followed her finger. Sitting on the sidewalk was a man. Older. Tired. Clothes worn thin. He looked like he hadn't smiled in a long time. The boy froze. You want me to just give it to him? Yes, Grandma said softly. Why? Because that's where your $2 start growing. That made no sense. How does giving something away make it grow? He asked. Grandma stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. Because money doesn't grow when you hold it, she said. It grows when it moves. The boy looked at the bread, then at the man, then back at Grandma. Slowly, hesitantly, he walked across the street and held it out. Here, he said awkwardly. The man looked up, surprised. For me. The boy nodded. The man took the bread like it was something priceless. Thank you, he said quietly. And for the first time, he smiled. The boy walked back, something strange sitting in his chest. That's it? He asked. That's the lesson? Grandma shook her head. No, she said. That's just the beginning. Because what happened just minutes later made the boy realize that giving away his last $2 wasn't a loss. It was the start of something he never expected. The boy stood there, arms crossed, still trying to make sense of what just happened. He gave away his last $2, and somehow Grandma expected that to turn into something more? It didn't add up. Okay, he said, exhaling. I did it. Now what? Grandma didn't answer. She just kept watching the man across the street. The boy followed her gaze. The man had already opened the bread, but instead of eating it right away, he paused. Then slowly he broke it in half. The boy frowned. What's he doing? Grandma's voice was soft. Watch. A few seconds later, a small child walked up to the man, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Clothes just as worn, eyes just as tired. The man smiled and handed the child the bigger half of the bread. The boy blinked. He just gave most of it away? Grandma nodded. Yes. But he needed it more, the boy said. Exactly, she replied. That hit differently. The boy felt something shift, but he couldn't explain it. Before he could say anything else, a car pulled up near the sidewalk. Nice car. Clean. Out of place. A woman stepped out holding a paper bag. She walked straight toward the man and the child. The boy leaned forward slightly. What's going on now? Grandma didn't look surprised. Keep watching. The woman smiled warmly at the man. I've seen you here before, she said. But today, I saw what you did. The man looked confused. Ma'am, you shared your food, she said. Even when you barely had any. She handed him the paper bag. Inside, more food. Fresh. Enough for both of them. And then, she reached into her purse and pulled out some cash. The boy's eyes widened. No way. I run a small cafe down the street, the woman continued. If you're willing to work, I could use someone like you. The man froze. A job, he asked quietly. She smiled. A chance. The boy's mouth went slightly open. He turned slowly to Grandma. Did you know this would happen? Grandma shook her head. No, she said. But I knew something would. The boy looked back across the street. The man was thanking the woman over and over. The child was smiling now, really smiling. And somehow, all of it started with a $1.50 loaf of bread. That doesn't make sense, the boy whispered. Grandma stepped closer. It does, she said. You just weren't taught to see it. The boy looked down at his empty hands, then back at the scene. So, you're saying that me giving away my money led to that? I'm saying, Grandma replied. You started a chain. The boy swallowed. A chain of what? Grandma smiled. A chain most people are too afraid to begin. But what Grandma revealed next about that old coin in his hand would completely change how he sees money and his future forever. The boy couldn't stop staring at the scene across the street. The man, now holding a job opportunity. the child, finally smiling. All of it felt unreal. And somehow it started with him. With $2 he almost didn't want to let go of. He slowly turned to Grandma. "Okay," he said quietly. "I need you to explain this." Grandma nodded, like she had been waiting for that moment. "Walk with me," she said. They started heading back home, the morning sun finally breaking through the clouds. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then the boy pulled the old coin out of his pocket. "This," he said, holding it up. "You said this used to be $1. Grandma smiled. "It did." "That doesn't make any sense," he replied. "You didn't invest it. You didn't save it, you gave it away." "Yes," she said simply. "And somehow it turned into what?" "A lucky coin," he asked. Grandma stopped walking. She turned to him, her expression calm but serious. "No," she said. "It turned into a mindset." The boy frowned. "A mindset?" Grandma nodded. "That day," she began, "when I had my last dollar, I was scared. Just like you." The boy listened closely. "I could have used it to survive one more day," she continued. "Bought something small. Kept myself comfortable for a moment." "But you didn't," the boy said. "No," she replied. "I gave it to someone who needed it more." "Just like me," he said quietly. "Just like you," she confirmed. They started walking again. "At first," Grandma continued, "nothing happened. No miracle. No reward." The boy's eyebrows lifted slightly. "Then why do it?" he asked. "Because something changed inside me," she said. He looked at her, waiting. "I stopped thinking like someone who had nothing," she explained, "and started thinking like someone who could create something." The boy stayed silent. "That one decision," she said, "made me see opportunities differently. I started helping more, connecting more, trying more." "And that led to?" he asked. "To everything," Grandma said softly. She gestured around them. "The home we live in. The life I built. The people I met." The boy looked down at the coin again. "So this isn't about the money," he said slowly. "No," Grandma replied. "It never was." She gently closed his fingers around the coin. "It's about who you become when you have almost nothing, and still choose to act like you have enough." The boy felt a lump in his throat. "So, the coin is just a reminder?" Grandma smiled. "A reminder of the moment everything changed." They reached the house. The boy stood there thinking. "But what if it doesn't work for me?" he asked. "What if I give, and nothing comes back?" Grandma opened the door, then paused. She looked back at him, her eyes steady. "Then you give again," she said. But later that night, something unexpected happened that proved Grandma's lesson wasn't just true, it was only just beginning. That night felt quieter than usual. The boy sat on his bed, turning the old coin over and over in his fingers. Everything Grandma said kept replaying in his mind. "It's about who you become. Money grows when it moves. Then you give again." He wasn't fully convinced. But he wasn't the same either. Something had shifted. Still, a part of him wondered, was today just luck? He placed the coin on his nightstand and laid back, staring at the ceiling. Hours passed. Then, knock, knock. He sat up. "Yeah," he called out. Grandma's voice came from the other side. "Can you come here for a second?" He walked out into the living room. Grandma was standing near the door, holding something. "Someone stopped by earlier," she said. The boy frowned. "Who?" Grandma handed him a small paper bag. "No name," she said. "Just said it was for you." The boy looked confused. "For me." He opened the bag slowly. Inside was a sandwich. Fresh. Warm. And underneath it, a folded note. His heart started beating faster. He opened it. "You reminded me of something today." It read. "I don't have much yet, but this is a start. Thank you." The boy froze. He looked up at Grandma. "Is this from?" She nodded. "The man from this morning," she said. The boy looked back at the sandwich, then at the note, then at the coin. "You gave him once," Grandma continued softly, "and he found a way to give back." The boy swallowed hard. "But he barely had anything," he said. "Exactly," Grandma replied. Silence filled the room, but it wasn't empty. It was full. Full of understanding. Full of something new. The boy sat down slowly, holding the bag like it meant more than anything he'd ever owned. "It came back," he whispered. Grandma smiled. "No," she said gently. "It kept moving." That hit deeper than anything else. The boy looked at the coin one more time. But now, it didn't feel like an old piece of metal. It felt like a starting point. The next morning he woke up early again. But this time, he didn't wait for Grandma. He grabbed the coin, stepped outside, and started walking. Because now he understood something most people never do. You don't wait until you have more. You start with what you have, even if it's just $2. Because the truth is, the moment you stop holding on so tightly is the moment everything starts coming back in ways you never expected.